Support for Radio Friends comes from La Brunerie Financial, where they work to ensure a lifetime of financial security for people from all walks of life, from investment services to retirement plans. If you're looking for a trustworthy company that has the experience and knowledge to put your interests first, contact La Brunerie Financial, a community-based investment counseling firm since 1966. Learn more at labrunerie.com or by calling 573-449-5313. Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Monday, December the 24th. This is Christmas Eve, and we're glad that you chose to spend at least 8 to 10 minutes with us today. We've got Larry Brown on this Christmas Eve. Good to have you here, Larry.
Well, good to be here on Christmas Eve.
You're going to share a brand new Christmas Eve story,
Brand new, yes. It's been my tradition for a number of years to create a new story for Christmas.
Yeah, and you've shared it with our listeners for a number of years.
Yes. Many times it's been debuted on this show.
Yeah.
Yes,
so what's the name of it?
I can tell you the name of this one. More Than a Suit.
More
Than a Suit.
Okay, so here is Larry Brown with a brand new Christmas story, December 24th, 2018, More Than a Suit.
Louie zipped up the clothes bag, put it over his arm, and headed out toward the door. But he stopped at the door, turned around, and said to his wife, Helen, "Well, I got to go have coffee with the guys, and I'll stop at the grocery store. I've got the list. There's a couple of the errands I run. And I'm going to take this suit to the cleaners again, and maybe I'll just get rid of it. I'm tired of all these kids already. Well, not the kids. It's really their parents I'm tired of." And Helen said, "But Louie, you're so good with those kids. You're patient. You create so many good memories." I said, "Yeah, well," he said, I'm not going to do any more malls and no parades and no parties. But I'll do the fellowship night at church and the senior center. But that's it. I'm retiring again." And Helen said, "Well, there's this nice young man, Jimmy Elmore. Maybe you could teach him." "Yeah, well, maybe." Well, Louie went on out to the car and put his clothes bag in the back seat of the car and drove out the driveway. Well, before he was going to have coffee with the guys, he needed to stop and get gas. So he pulled into the Quick Mart, and there was Elsie McMillan. She was struggling, trying to put air in her tires at the air compressor. And she saw Louie pull in. She said, "Oh, Louie, could you help me? Could you help me? My indicator light says I have a low tire, and I can't figure out which one, and I can't make this machine work, and it's already taken 75 cents. Could you help me, Louie?" And Louie says, Okay. Well, Louie reached in his pocket, got 75 cents, put it in the machine and checked her tires, and sure enough, they were too low. And she says, You're good to go, Elsie. Everything's taken care of." "Oh, Louie, would you want 75 cents? No. It's on me." And so she drove off, and Louie got gas, and as he pulled out onto the boulevard at the next stoplight, there was a guy out there with a sign, asking for money. And reluctantly, Louie rolled down the window, and the guy leaned in and said, "Could you spare some change, fella? I've lost my job, and I need medical attention for my child." And he started to explain his situation, and then he looked at Louie and said, "Hey, I know you. You used to bring your suit into the cleaners where I used to work, but I got laid off." And he started to go into more explanation, and the light changed, and Louie just pulled out $20 and gave it to him and pulled away from the stoplight. And the guy said, "Thank you. Merry Christmas," as Louie drove off. When Louie got to the coffee shop, he apologized for being a little late, and all the other guys were there, and including Jimmy Elmore was there. And of course, the conversation was the same. They talked about their health, the latest, prescription medications, and talked about the weather and politics and the good old days. And Jimmy leaned over to Louie and said, "So how's it going being Santa this year?" And Louie says, I'll talk to you about that later. He says, "But it's more than just putting on a Santa suit." Well, after the conversation was done and they had their coffee, Louie went off to make his next stop at the grocery store. And as he got out and he went up, he wanted a quarter for the cart at the grocery store, and he'd given away his quarters. Well, he was standing there trying to figure out what to do, go in and get some change. And a little girl came running up and says, "Oh, Santa, oh, Santa, oh, Santa." And he looked and apologized. The little girl's mother says, "Oh, it's the whiskers and the hair. The kids think that all the time." And the little girl says, "Well, Santa, you can use our cart." So he helped them over to their car, unloaded their groceries, and took the cart back in. And as they drove off, she waved delightfully. And Louie got the groceries, came back out to his car, opened up the door to the back seat, took out the clothes bag, put it on the roof of the car, loaded his grocery up, closed the door, and drove off. Well, his next stop was at the library. He dropped off a couple of books, but when he got home, Helen met him at the door and said, "Louie, a nice college student named Kelsey just came and brought your clothes bag. He found it at the parking lot at the grocery store." And Louie goes, "Oh, good grief, I totally forgot. I guess it slid off the roof." And he said, "Did you tell him what was in it?" She says, "Well, your address and name was on the bag. That's how he came here. And I told him that it was your Santa suit and that you were going to be at the church this Sunday night and maybe he could be there." And he thought, "Oh, shoot. Okay. All right. That Sunday night, there was Louie in the corner in his Santa suit. Kids were coming up to him. And there came, Elsie McMillan with her granddaughter, and she came up and sat on his lap. And as he looked, there coming up toward him was a man that he recognized from the stoplight with a young boy in a wheelchair who came up to him. And then there was the little girl from the parking lot with her mom and dad came up to him. And as one by one and the crowd began to disperse, and then a young man came up and whispered in his ear and says, "I'm Kelsey. I'm the one who brought your suit back to you." Well, as the party was wrapping up, Santa made his exit with jingle bells, and Jimmy Elmore was at his side as they went out the door, and Jimmy sort of winked and chuckled and says, "I'll help you to your sleigh, Santa." Louie says, "Come on out." And they went out to the back parking lot and got in the car, and that kind of a strange situation. Here was Santa at the wheel of his car and Jimmy beside him, and Louie says, "Okay, Jimmy, I'm going to turn it all over to you." But he said, "Now listen, it's more than a suit. It's about bringing joy and peace to people's heart. It's about offering hope. It's about loving humanity. It's about relationships." And Jimmy said, "Yes, I know. I want it in my heart, just like you, because I know it's more than a suit."
Mm-hmm. That's nice, Larry. That's very nice. And that's what it's called. It's more than a suit on this Christmas Eve, December 24th, 2018. And we wish you and yours, we hope that that you will be spending the day today and tomorrow with the ones that you love. Larry, thank you so much for coming by. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
And Happy New Year. Hope to see you many times in 2019.
All right. We'll do that.
People, how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, email me at brownstory@hotmail.com.
Okay. And if there's something you would like to hear or see, I'd love to hear from you at pepperp@missouri.edu. Have yourself a nice day. If you're going to be traveling on the highways or in the air, be careful, and we'll see you tomorrow.